Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. On today's show, we have Jim Leeker, the president of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame in studio to discuss our town's rich heritage. We'll have part 2 in our series from the 2023 St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And STL TV reporter Melanie Steen has a feature on a legendary basketball coach in our community. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Show. In our first segment today, Melanie Steen catches up with a pretty special high school basketball coach. Let's take a look.
Todd, Coach Lee has definitely made his mark in high school basketball here in St. Louis. And this season, it is a new chapter for him and for his players.
Lee is way more locked in. Lee's more locked in. Lee builds us as men.
Coach Kelvin Lee joined Hazelwood Central High School in July 2023. To date, the team has yet to play their first game, but the athletes are hard at work getting ready for what they hope is a winning season.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good job in the weight room today. In the weight room, guys. We're getting stronger. I can see it. I see your muscles. Every time you do something, I see those muscles flexing.
Although his time at Hazelwood Central has been brief, Coach Lee is already making an impact.
I feel like everybody's buying in, especially with the seniors. We got Lee and 10 seniors that are really good leaders. So whatever Coach Lee is preaching, we're catching it up. So it's all coming down to like a domino effect. And I'm excited about this year. I think we can win a lot of games.
Lee's journey to becoming a Hall of Fame coach started all the way back in high school. He attended Crestview High School in Florida. That's him showing off his skills on the court. He would go on to earn his degree at Houston Baptist University, now Houston Christian University. A degree in management and PE led him to consider a career in coaching.
That's when I got into college basketball at Baylor University. Okay? Spent 3 great years at Baylor. That's when I met a man by the name of Charlie Sprout. He came to scout. We were playing at the University of Tulsa. And again, I shook his hands in the stands. I left. We had a game. But unfortunately, he called me that later and said, would you join me in St. Louis? I said, sure. And I spent 3 great years in St. Louis at SLU as a Billiken.
Coach Lee calls Spoonhour his mentor. During his time at SLU, he says he learned how to best communicate with his players. After he left SLU, he briefly coached at Texas A&M University. But he says the job wasn't a good fit, and so after 6 months, he left the business and sold insurance. But even that would lead him back to basketball. And so, while selling insurance, a colleague asked him to help out coaching a 6th grade basketball team.
So I took all the practices and games for this 6th grade team, all right? And they thought they were wild, man. They thought I was nuts. So every time they made a mistake, I make a run. They weren't using that discipline brought up. And I taught them how to play, and all of a sudden they started learning how to play. And we started winning.
While coaching the 6th grade team and selling insurance, Lee learned about a coaching position at Chaminade. His mentor, Coach Spoonhour, encouraged him to throw his hat into the ring and get back to what he loved doing full time.
Within a matter of days, I was hired at Chaminade. And the rest is history, because again, I got back to the coaching, and after 16 years at Chaminade, a long time, and I had a great run, a great experience, and I was blessed. I had some great players.
Some of those great players are now stars in the NBA. This includes Jason Tatum with the Boston Celtics and Bradley Beal with the Phoenix Suns.
And the parents that set their players to play for me, who believed in me, to take care of their kids. And that's what coaching is all about. Having these parents trust you, and they believe in you, and they believed in me. And I took care of Bradley, David Lee, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, Tyler Cook, and the rest is all in all.
In 2022, Chaminade inducted Coach Lee into the school's Hall of Fame. His daughter Mackenzie and son KJ proudly attended the event and cheered their dad on. But when it comes to being proud, the sometimes tough coach has a soft spot for his children, who are now all grown up.
Kids. That'd be my kids. My daughter Mackenzie, I'm so proud of her, and KJ too.
To date, Coach Lee has been inducted into 4 Hall of Fames, including at Chaminade, SLU, Crestview High School, and with the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association.
The beauty of coaching, that's the way I look at it. Seeing those kids come in as freshmen, and then you have a point in their lives and watching them grow. Each year they mature. Each year become myths. From boys to men, it's gratifying being a coach, being a part of those kids' lives.
U City, I got that as like a rival. We didn't get to play them, we had certain things that went on, but I really want to play U City and Lutheran North because, one of our players just came from Lutheran North, so yeah, I want to play those both.
Prior to joining Hazelwood Central, Coach Lee spent several years as head coach at U City. It's a team that he will face this season.
It's going to be a fun night.
Hawks on 3, family on 6. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6.
The boys varsity basketball season will officially end on February 22nd. To check out their full schedule, just visit their website, hazelwoodschools.org. Todd, back to you.
That's great, Melanie. It's awesome that Coach Lee is still in contact with his high school team, his high school players that are now in the NBA. Well, joining us now in studio is the president of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, Jim Leeker. Jim, thank you so much for joining us here on Inside Sports. You've had an amazing career in soccer going way back, and you were a pretty darn good soccer player yourself, and you got some great teams at St. Louis University.
Yeah, I was kind of fortunate. I was kind of in the right place at the right time. I played for the Cuda Soccer Club a little bit after their heyday, but still it was a dynamite team. And played at St. Louis University, member of the 1969 NCAA championship team. And then in 1970, 71, and 72, I actually played for the St. Louis Stars in the North American Soccer League, where I was Rookie of the Year in 1970. And then in 1972, the last game that I played for them, we were in the NASL championship game against the Cosmos, which we lost. It would have been a nice feather in my cap if we would have won that game, but still I had a great run with the Stars early on. Early on when it was in the transitional period, which kept St. Louis on the map at soccer. And the team continued on for another couple of years before they moved out to Anaheim and then before they folded. But it was a great experience for myself.
Well, Jim, growing up as a sports fan, as a kid, I remember the St. Louis Stars. I mean, they played like 1 year at Francis Park, and I remember there was a big, Pele came to town, and it was like one of the coolest things ever with soccer in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I don't think you played against Pele, but he was probably one of the greatest soccer players of all time.
Oh, definitely. He came to St. Louis the first time in 1967 when he actually played against the Cosmos, or he actually played against the St. Louis Stars at the new Busch Stadium. So it was a great game. Naturally, the Stars put up a good fight, but Brazil, or Santos, came through with the win. So.
Well, since you're the president of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, let's take a little bit of a look back when soccer began in St. Louis. I began it back in the 1800s sometime?
Well, the first reported game, as declared by Dave Lang, was right around the 1890s, where the first game was played actually on the grounds where Busch Stadium was located down on Grand and Dodier. And then after that, it was a game that everybody played in St. Louis on park grounds or in church grounds. And it was really the start of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame was due to the reunion of the 1920 Ben Miller's team that won the National Open Cup that year. The National Open Cup is now known as the Lamar Hunt Trophy, and they combined, the NAS or major MSL teams are part of that championship team now.
So St. Louis is, a city of immigrants. And soccer is pretty much the sport of the world, and people are starting to figure that out in St. Louis right now. But we had a lot of immigrants coming to town, and St. Louis soccer became pretty prominent in the mid-century.
Yes, St. Louis was a hotbed for the immigrants. There was an Italian section, which was the Hill. There was the South County or South City, which had not only the Polish national team, the Polish National Alliance, but the St. Louis Kickers, which was German, and the Spanish Society were the three main, teams that continued to play soccer. And at that time, there were sponsorships that were looking to have, their name on jerseys or on anything that represented the team. And that's how Ben Miller's started. He was a hat manufacturer in St. Louis. And then it went into the car dealerships with the Schultz motor team. There's three things that happened in St. Louis soccer that really put us on the map. The first being the 1950 World Cup team, where 6 players from the Hill were actually on that team. Charlie Colombo, Charlie Colombo, Pee Wee Wallace, Gino Periani, Frank Borghi, and then the 5th from the Hill was Bob Annis. Now, Bob Annis didn't get the notoriety because he never played in one of the World Cup games. So he was still part of the team, but he doesn't get the notoriety that a lot of people think that he should. And naturally, the 5th one that played in that game was Harry Keogh, who was the captain and the spokesperson for the Cuda soccer team in the heyday of winning 7 amateur cup championships in a row. And then in the one year, they also won the National Open Cup, which the Ben Millers had won. And there was many of teams that between the 20s and the 50s that won national championship teams. So that was the first one that put St. Louis on the map. The second was the Cudas team. Third was St. Louis University. St. Louis University, early years with Bob Gelker, they were NCAA champions nearly every year. I think they lost 1 year in the first 5 years of the championship, and that was to Navy, if I'm not mistaken. But you can take a look at the records for that.
What about indoor soccer with the Steamers? Because that was a big deal in the 80s when they came out with Slobo and Don Ebert and all them. Do they get to go in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yes. Oddly enough, when I first became a committee member, I had to ask a lot of questions because I was a youngster on it. And the original Hall of Fame was made up of outdoor players only. And I said, if we don't include the indoor, and if we don't include women, we're going to fall short of, inducting people one of these days. I can't say fall short because there's plenty of players that are going to be inducted this year and in the years to come. There'll be plenty of players, like Tim Ream, Josh Sargent, are 2 that come to mind right now who played on the national team. But the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, we've inducted that many, and I still have about 90 people that I have no idea who they are. Because all I have is their name on a plaque and no information about them. So if you go to the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame website, you'll find out who they are, and you might be related to one of them.
Wow, that's neat.
So, yeah.
Well, hold that thought because we're going to take a quick break now, but stay with us as our conversation with Jim Leeker continues, and we'll head down to the MAC for part 2 of our series commemorating the 2023 St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So stay with us.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
And welcome back to the show. Jim Leeker is the president of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame in St. Louis, and Carolyn Kendall has been amazing as the owner of St. Louis SC with Enterprise. A guy like you, a president of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, must be so excited to have MLS soccer here in St. Louis with such a beautiful facility and such great success here in the first year.
Oh, the first year's been unbelievable. You know, they've put on a show every single game. And I really appreciate what the coaches have done. And Carolyn, naturally Carolyn, because she's the brains behind this. You know, the players are so articulate, every one of them. And that was one of the criteria that they wanted this team to have. They wanted people to be great players, but also be great communicators with what they have to do on outside of the game. But the game itself has been phenomenal for St. Louis. Every game has been a sellout. The St. Louis Hooligans have in their supporters section have been there every single game, standing the entire game. You know. And the team has performed to everybody's unbelievable expectations to win the Western Conference Championship and have home field advantage. As I mentioned to John Hackworth, one of the assistant coaches, I said, now the fun begins because the playoffs start. And it's one game at a time. Even though that's what they preached the entire year, one game at a time, this is truly one game at a time.
So St. Louis FC was kind of like a minor league team. They played out in Soccer Park, but they had the Hooligans, and they really started a neat trend. And then when Major League Soccer representatives were looking at St. Louis, they saw a fan base there.
Oh, yeah,
now, they're
definitely
not there anymore, but how have they helped bring some of that energy and excitement to City Park?
Yeah, St. Louis FC had to fold because of the MLS criteria that they had to follow. You know, they have the first team, which is St. Louis City, then St. Louis City 2, and then all their academy teams after that. And everybody who's playing the game for St. Louis City Academy are learning the same techniques as what they're preaching on up to the St. Louis City 2 team and the St. Louis City team. So everybody's on the same page with the hopes that the team will be developed through the academy system. So
awesome. Well, right now let's send it down to the Missouri Athletic Club and catch up with Carolyn Kendall and a few others at this year's ceremony. And we're joined now with Carolyn Kendall, the owner of St. Louis SC and a newest Shrinee, the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and congratulations. I mean, all of a sudden, St. Louis City has a soccer team, and now you're in the Hall of Fame.
I know, it's unbelievable. You know, it's hard to believe that 4 years ago we were awarded the franchise, and now we're 3/4 of the way through our season in a beautiful home called City Park, and we just couldn't be more excited.
You know, thinking about the transformation of downtown because of the soccer stadium, it's huge. I mean, it's great having the Enterprise Center, and we have, you know, Busch Stadium and everything. But that part of town right there, especially Union Station, was a little, you know, a little dire at some point during like the Arch Madness and things at the Enterprise Center. It seems like what you guys did and what the O'Laughlin Group did at Union Station, transforming and segueing that to City Park, has just been amazing, and it's given such a bright future to our downtown.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it was just sitting there as highway ramps, as we've talked about. But to be able to transform it into really an international premier sports facility has been very exciting. And so when we've had teams come in, so whether it's Uzbekistan for the U.S. men's national team, or just even recruitment of players, they will comment about how amazing our training facility is, but also that it's right across the street, you know, from our home City Park. And so I think we were just lucky that we were able to get that space. We were lucky to be able to make it all fit. But I think what it's also doing is proving that density in downtown, makes it safer, people more likely to come out. And I think we're just excited to have matches and then, of course, non-match day parties, and just really looking forward to how we're going to continue to program City Park and the entire stadium district.
You know, you mentioned the density. I'm thinking when I go to a City SC game, I see people from around the world. I mean, soccer is the sport of the world, and it's a whole different crowd than football games and hockey and basketball games and Cardinal fans. I mean, it's a whole different group that we're attracting to downtown, and that's phenomenal, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons why the family was really interested in a professional soccer team, because it is such an international sport. And so whether you're here visiting, whether you're potentially relocating or starting your business here, you're a student, regardless of where you come from, you are familiar with the sport of soccer. And so it's been such a great journey to really understand, you know, just the impact of soccer, but also it's a fun game to watch. I mean, matches are insane, and the excitement. And so we are just so thankful that we have the fans that we do, the supporters, they keep the party going, our food vendors, you know, 100% local. Clearly I could go on and on and on, but you know, a match day at City Park is a world-class experience, and that's exactly what we wanted to do.
Any final thoughts on your night being enshrined in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame?
No, I think I'm just grateful that I'm here, and I'm forever thankful for all the support that I've been given.
Jim, the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony is a great event each year down at the Missouri Athletic Club. They've been doing this now for some time, and I see in the near future some neat things going on with the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we were in touch with Greg Marisek when he first started it, and we wished him all the best of luck. And I mean, he did a fabulous job with all of his contacts with, you know, basketball and baseball. You know, he's been able to really shine. So it's been very enlightening to see what they've done. In retrospect, yeah, our St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, we'll have about 900 people at our banquet every year. So we look at just soccer and soccer families that come to this event. But Greg had done a great job setting the stage.
And Carolyn is so bubbly. I mean, she's just like a, you know, out there with the people. She's conversational. She's into, she probably wasn't even a soccer fan when their family started looking into this, but now she's on board and they're doing so much for the community.
Yeah, Carolyn has been phenomenal for the St. Louis soccer community. Not only for the team and the house that it has right now, but they're going out into the community and setting up these little bitty soccer fields throughout the city. And from what I can remember, they're all going to be within the 15-mile radius of downtown St. Louis.
Wow.
So it'll be in North County, over in Illinois, South County, and West County, where kids could go in at all times of the day. They'll all be lit, and they'll be able to play just pickup games.
You know, there's been some great women's teams here in St. Louis. I know a lot of girls have gone on and played at Duke and around the country. We've got St. Louisans on the Olympic teams, and the U.S. National Olympic team winning gold medals, and you know, they're the pride of the USA for a long time, and just fantastic. A little down year this year, but the men's team hasn't really been like in the top, you know, like 4 or 5 in the world. Why is the USA soccer program, why can't they compete with, you know, Brazil and Spain and, you know, some of these, Germany and some of these huge soccer nations?
Well, now I'm going to give you my own opinion. My own opinion is that these players that are chosen from different areas and different style of play, and they put them on the field with a few games and a few practices to create that cohesiveness. It's hard to do. And Greg Berhalter, you know, he's got his work cut out for him. Matter of fact, there was one year that the Cuda Soccer Club that won the National and the Amateur Cup, those many years, they actually represented the United States in a World Cup match. They played against, I believe it was Canada. They ended up losing, But the Federation said, we got the greatest team that's playing in the United States right now. Let's just give them the opportunity to play on the World Cup level.
So you're saying it'd be better to take a good team rather than a hodgepodge of all-stars?
No, I want to give them a better chance to get together. You know, there was talk because of a lot of the players are playing in Europe right now about possibly putting a facility for the United States men's national team in Europe, so they don't have to make that 12-hour trip and then another, 24 hours to recuperate.
Sure.
You know, because you have to have that cohesiveness. And one of the greatest things that you can have is players knowing what each other are going to be doing throughout the game, and not just, I hope he's going to be there. You should know that he's going to be there.
Before we let you go, how important is the Taylor Twellmans of the world who went to St. Louis University, and Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott? How important are they to soccer in St. Louis and the sport in general?
Bill is the spokesperson for St. Louis soccer. You know, whenever anybody has to get anything from Bill, if they can't get it from Bill, they'll call me, but they usually get it from Bill. And his nickname, Mr. Soccer, is truly representative of his knowledge. Taylor, what a spokesperson for the MLS, but also for St. Louis. I mean, when he found out that St. Louis was going to get an MLS team, he was on board with being here for that announcement. So, yeah, the Twellmans are a great family.
Well, thank you so much. Jim, we appreciate you joining us here in studio.
No, thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
And we're going to try to get the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame over at City Park someday. We're going to get an annex there for you.
Maybe we'll get it worked out.
All right, well, that's our show for today. We'd like to thank Jim Leeker for joining us in studio. We'd like to thank you for watching Inside Sports on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.